hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, A Year to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode, what episode is it? 720. I'm your Sticky Mick alongside me. He's the man that likes to burn everything. It's Matt.
Hi. Happy Father's Day, Tricky.
Thank you, sir. Same to you. Sorry. I'm trying to get everything together because today is been a little bit hectic. I went to work last night, came home, slept, woke up, went to dinner. Now I'm sitting down to record, and I have to go back to work after this recording. So, my Father's Day hasn't been too eventful. How about yours, sir? Doing anything good?
Well, like I said, I know you and I talked about it before the show, so for everybody else's edification, all I did was some food shopping and played video games today.
Anything? Well, we'll get into what you were playing. All right. So, Gareth posted in the Trophy Looting group that he's on holiday, so he will not be providing a rarity update. He said that all the scores are going to end as of 8 p.m. UK time today, which was a couple hours ago as of this recording. So everybody's scores are taken. But you'll know that if you were watching or if you're listening to this on Wednesday. We do have a update from Sid, so I'll play that when it's the time. Alex is out doing something with his dad, but we do have audio from him for the live show. You're not going to get it for the audio. I'll patch it in because you know how Matt, you know how Alex gets. He gets very long-winded. I gave him 5 minutes. He asked for 10, and then wound up doing 13. So that will be passed into the live show. Or not the live show, the audio. And Yield, I think he had the Yield we sent to, what, Timbuktu?
I thought to Thailand.
Wow.
You said T, one of the places with a T, so.
Oh, we really should get with our, travel agent and, start coordinating this stuff better. We never know where we're sending each other.
Agent?
Who's the travel agent? Let's say Dex. Dex is the travel agent.
All right, Dex. Okay. Dex is saying he's in Australia. So, a little self-serving, Dex.
I mean, that would explain why he's always upside down. But
Hey-o.
At least you give me something on my jokes. Otherwise, it's saying that they're bad.
Well, I'm the only one here right now, so I kind of count on the other guys to give you responses.
Yeah, but you can have my back. We're brothers up here in the Northeast. They're in the Midwest. Is that what they're considered, Midwest? I don't know.
I'd be very careful on that Brothers of the Northeast thing because us New Jerseyans and you New Yorkians, especially Staten Islanders, have a little bit of a rivalry that we haven't gotten over yet.
That is true. But I still think of you like a brother. So, Dex says it is what it is, Matt. All right, so got all that. Let's do our updated trophy count, which I'm going to be saying 4 of them, and Matt's pretty much not going to have an update, but I am level 988 total trophies of 35,897 with 1,047 platinums. Alex is level 535 total trophies of 11,376 with 211 plats in 210 games. Yield is level 545 total trophies of 12,008 with 231 plats. Matt, is there any update with you?
No. I'm still 224, 1,392 trophies and 0 platinums. I did touch my PS5 controller.
You touched it,
but it was only to move it to the base station to charge it.
Well, why would you need to charge it for you to play it?
because I needed to make room for my new Steam controller.
Listen, no hate against that thing, but that thing looks ugly.
My couch has a compartment under the armrest, and that's where I keep the majority of my controllers. You know, I got a PC controller, I have an Xbox controller, then I have an Xbox console controller, and I have Switch 2 controller, and then I had the PS5 controller. Well, one of those had to be made room for the Steam controller. I know you're saying it's hideous. However,
it looks ugly.
Listen, I am comparatively. I showed you the picture of what the original,
yes,
next to the original Steam controller. That original one was horrid. It was ugly, but this one actually very functional, and I've put it through the motions this week. I've had a lot of good times with it. I'll talk more about that as we get into games, but I think we still got Sid's trophies to get through.
Sid is level 902, total trophies of 28,168 with 869 plats. I didn't even look to see if he made the other one on private. So, yeah, I'm looking at the controllers. They're both hideous.
Yeah, well, that's coming from somebody who loves PS5 controllers.
What are the two black squares underneath the...
So those are the track pads, essentially pads for the mouse. So instead of having to grab my keyboard and mouse from the coffee table, I turn on my controller and I can use it just like a keyboard and mouse. I can even activate an on-screen keyboard should I want it. It's nice because the controller also has, I didn't show you those pictures, but it has the R4 and R5, L4 and L5 back buttons. It also has a gyroscope. If I palm the grips appropriately, I can activate gyroscope mode, meaning that games that support gyro aiming, I can do that. It highly customizable. So that left trackpad, which, if you're looking at it, you're going, well, why, if it's for a mouse, why do you need two trackpads? The left trackpad can be programmed to do a number of different things based on the swipe, based on the press. And it could act as like a radial menu type of selection. So, if something happens and I'm sitting on my couch, I don't have to go retrieve my mouse and keyboard to get all the functionality I want. I do say this with a large caveat, and anybody who basically is getting the Steam controller knows this, but it only works with Steam games with a little asterisk. So if I load up Game Pass or Epic Game Store, it's not going to work, except if I add those games to the Steam launcher as a non-Steam game, then it'll work just fine. So it's a little bit of PC centric language that most of you, if you're using PC gaming, will know. But it uses Steam input as opposed to X input. X input is Windows general controller type of configuration that when it detects an Xbox controller, it goes, oh, okay, I know X is X, Y is Y, up is down, things like that. So the controller, while bulky, and it did take a little bit of getting used to, it fits very well. It's a good weight. It's got plenty of features, more than a standard Xbox controller. And with PC gaming currently, the PS5 controller, I only think just recently got an update that they've allowed Bluetooth connection to get the functionality working on the controllers. I know you and I talked about that in the past. I think now there's like an official patch for that. I just haven't looked into it further because I don't use it except for when I was playing one game. So I'm enjoying the controller. I'm happy I got it.
I mean, I'm not hating on it. To me, it just looks ugly. But
it all the functionality it has, they had to fit those trackpads somewhere, and those are reminiscent as to what is on the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck has a left trackpad and a right trackpad. The X very much the same.
Well, I mean, and I also want to say this: like, it doesn't matter what a controller looks like. If it feels comfortable in your hand and it works, who the hell cares what it looks like? That's why
that's usually my MO when it comes to PC gaming. I'm always function over form. When we were building Kalai's computer, she's like, "Oh, everything has to be this color. Everything has to be this." I was like, "Kalai, I hate your design decisions. It makes it a problem putting this thing together." But on my PC, it's just as long as it does what it's intended to do, I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, I just the same thing. Like when the PS5 launched, everybody's like, "Oh, it's not in black." I'm like, who cares? It's not the outside color that looks. That's what you're buying it for. You're buying it for, Anyway. Oh, Matt, it's been a day. All right, so let's throw it at this time over to Sid for this week's Sophie's Trophy.
Hello guys, how are we all? I'm back with another platinum shout out, Sophie's Trophies. And first up guys, we have Shotty Sniper 123 with Heavy Rain on the PS4. And again with Blueprints on the PS5. We have Misa Goatsalot with Metal Hellsinger on the PS5. And We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie on the PS5. And then we have California Wayne with Cyberpunk 2077 on the PS5. And again with South Park, The Fractured But Whole on the PS4. And last but not least on this page is Homer Gets Duffed with The Precinct on the PS5. Now, I don't know many of these games. I've played Metal Hellsinger and I've played Heavy Rain. And I played a bit of The Fractured But Whole. But I'm going to give it to... I'd probably say, guys, Cyberpunk. Just because I know it's quite a long platinum, I think. I could be wrong. Okay, on page 2, we have Resident Daryl with Resident Evil Requiem on the PS5. Dat1 Seagull with Wu Chang Fallen Feathers on the PS5. EDJ 3DG with Resident Evil 5 on the PS3. Marky Frazier with Resident Evil Requiem on the PS5. Pee-wee ITFC with Spyro 2 Ripto's Revenge or Riptide's Revenge on the PS4. MZ Nitro with Hentai Girls Succubus on the PS5. Then we have Shotty Sniper 123 with Assassin's Creed Mirage on the PS5 and Ukulele on the PS4. And Misa Goatsalot with Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight on the PS5. So for that page, I'm going to give it to Requiem. And also, just because I love it, is Spyro 2. I love the Spyro games, they're really good. So yeah, that is going to be it from me, guys, this week. A quick one, a double pager. If you had a double pager in a certain magazine when you were younger, you were quite happy. But anyway, that's for a completely different time, because you can get all that on the internet now, just to let you kids know. Okay, guys, take it easy. I will talk to you soon. Keep getting those trophies. Have fun. Bye.
You heard that, right?
I'll leave that alone. I'm not touching that.
No, actually, so JP's boy, RGT85, put out a video today talking about something where it seems like there's some players, I don't know the level of impact, there's some players who are complaining that recently played games are showing up on their profiles that they never touched. And specifically some hentai games and other things that people are like, wait, what? So, I don't know. It maybe it's that theory of I don't know what is this game, but yeah, I heard that and it reminded me that RGT put out the video today talking about that. So let folks look at your profiles, see if there's anything that shows up that you don't recognize, and let us know.
Let's see. Oh, in the chat, I guess you responded to Dex saying the PS5 would look awesome in black. He said that's why you said that's why Sony made the faceplates changeable. They didn't ask Xbox how that went for them. And then Dex replies, "Come on, I remember a faceplate coming with my Xbox 360 pre-order." Yeah, the faceplates didn't work too much after you got the red ring of death, though. So we'll leave it.
Well,
at
the
that.
faceplates didn't need to work anything; they just existed.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up the red ring of death. All right. So, like I said, no rarity update, but your trophies, all your scores have been calculated. So, have fun for the last week. I think this is the last week of the season. Yeah, because it should end July 1st. So, that being said, Matt, let's get into what we're playing.
Alrighty, so I haven't been here 2 weeks. So I got a couple different updates to do. On the Switch 2, I just decided to go through another couple rounds of Mario Party Jamboree, just up against the PC. Reminding me how much bullshit that game is with their extra stars at the end. I would have won if it weren't for those fucking extra stars. Did I choose to play the mode where extra stars are given? Yes, but fuck you. It's still a fun game. I still love going in there. When I have like no desire to like play anything and just want like a series of fun little events, I go and I play Mario Party Jamboree.
You have nobody to blame but yourself there, Matt.
I do, yeah, and I fully blame myself, but like I said, it is what it is. I put some time into that Star Fox demo that was coming out, and therefore it got me thinking, I'm going to go back in and play the actual Star Fox from Nintendo 64. And I've just been playing through that. So I'm excited because the new Star Fox for Switch 2, which is just basically a remake of Star Fox 64, which in and of itself was a remake of the original Star Fox, is coming out on June 25th. And I have the pre-order ready to go. Just pre-ordered it from Amazon, even though I'm usually against pre-orders, because it was $10 cheaper for the physical, matching the new digital price. For those of you who don't know, Nintendo put out a new pricing scheme where their physical games were generally going to be $10 more than the digital. And in this case, Star Fox was going to be, I think it was $60 physical and $50 on digital, and then sites like Amazon and Walmart were making it available for $50, same as digital. So I just figured, why not? I'll keep physical in this case. So I enjoyed the demo. I enjoyed going back playing Star Fox 64, and I can't wait for the new game to come out. Going to the PC, as I mentioned, I didn't touch my PS5 at all. Using the new Steam controller, I kind of put it through the motions through a couple different games. First and foremost, I've gotten back into Elden Ring and Elden Ring Night Rain. Elden Ring Night Rain being that roguelike game where you co-op with up to 2 other players and go through a series of challenges, as well as I've reached the final boss in Elden Ring's DLC Shadow of the Erdtree. Only reached, I have not beaten yet, because it is a very, very tough fight. I think I need to explore a little bit more and give myself there's items that you find, and if that gives yourself buffs, basically, as you collect them and you level up, it increases the damage you do and decreases the damage you take. So I need to do a bunch more of that, hopefully give myself a fighting chance. I actually got the boss to phase 2 and then continued to get schooled on it after. So I stopped. I also beat Pragmata. Definitely Capcom hitting out of the park again for this year. I mean, between Resident Evil 9, Monster Hunter Stories 3, and Pragmata, they're having a banner year. I can't wait to see what they do with Onimusha Way of the Sword in September, which, if you didn't see, Tricky, they originally had it slated for September 25th, and they actually moved up the date to September 4th, I think wanting to get ahead of all those other September releases.
That and stay far away from November.
Yes. Which, if we'll talk about it in a little bit. I also put more time into Armored Core 6, playing on my 3rd playthrough, beating some missions I was having difficulty with. I also put time into Monster Hunter Wilds. A couple months ago, they released a new / returning monster called Gogmazios, and there was a specialized mission to take it on, and I decided it was finally time to actually go in and try that. So I ended up going in and taking the mission on. I managed to squeak out a victory with 1 life left, so I was very happy to get through that. And with the announcement of Monster Hunter Wilds DLC coming in 2027, I'm going to slowly start getting back into that and doing all the upgrades and collecting all the missions and beating all the events I can. I also put some time into Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I want to start playing that game and get through it before the next Kenna comes out. I don't know what's drawing me to this game. There's just something about the art style and the gameplay that I've enjoyed watching others play. So I'm finally getting into it myself. I played a game called Lost Castle 2. It's a roguelike side-scrolling adventure. You can choose any number of different weapons. You can team up with other players. It's basically you go out on an adventure, gain currency, come back and build your camp until you're strong enough to kind of take on the final challenges that the game offers. So my buddy Steve and I actually went through and we beat the normal mode. Now we've got to increase difficulty for more rewards, obviously making it harder to play through to be able to access some of those end game challenges. And the final game I want to talk about is Mecha Chameleon. This seems to be a indie darling that's hit the newsreels recently. Basically, you go into a game with I think like up to 8 players or so, and then you're just like this avatar. Did you ever see the game Human Fall Flat?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, basically you're like a humanoid white canvas figure, and it's basically an advanced hide and seek game where it's got 3 different game modes. The one we played was called Hunters or Infection or whatever it was. One player starts out as the hunter and you have to find the other players. Now, where this game gets interesting is you can, as you go to hide, you actually can use like a canvas and paint yourself colors. So if like you're up against a red wall, you paint yourself red to kind of hide yourself. If you're like, I don't know, up hanging under a suit of armor, you can paint yourself like a silver sheen to kind of make yourself invisible. I had done it where there were balloons up on a ceiling and I climbed up onto the ceiling and I kind of posed myself in a general ball shape and I colored myself a color of a balloon to be able to hide from my friends. And what happens is when the hunter finds somebody, he shoots them and then you become a hunter and help them go to find the other players. It was, I don't know, $6 on Steam. Not very in depth, but for what it is, it's another fun party game. Kind of when you think back again on like Among Us and the spark of fire it hit and really, took off. So it's kind of one of those games. It's going in and just having fun with your friends, laughing and enjoying the time that you spend together, teasing and taunting each other. So that's what I've been up to the last 2 weeks, Tricky. How about you?
Let's see. What have I been playing? I've been playing James Bond, the 007 game. Here's the thing, Matt. I like this game, but it's frustrating because a lot of you can't run a lot of times unless you're in some kind of a chase sequence. And the couple times that I've been in a gunfight, I really have a hard time getting ammo. Like, they don't give you a whole lot of ammo. Like, they put, like, 20 enemies in front of you, but they only give you, like, 5 bullets. So you have to get headshots every single time. And then you have to get to where they are, swap the weapon, and that weapon may only have 8 bullets because they've been shooting you nonstop. So it's frustrating, and I understand there's got to be some strategy behind it, but I don't have the time to sit here and try to figure out, okay, let me go get this enemy, and then I could use cover to get that enemy. It's a little frustrating in that aspect. Did you play any of the Hitman games? Because I'm kind of curious, like, are the Hitman games like that too?
Yeah, actually, the thing about it though is, and I don't know how much of this is in the new 007 game, Hitman afforded you a couple different options. If you ran out of bullets in the gun you had to scavenge what you had in the other ones. The problem was, or I should say the benefit in Hitman was, you had some hand-to-hand stuff you could do, obviously sneaking up and disabling or killing a person outright, using your environment to your best advantage. So yeah, it kind of gave you multiple options. I don't know what level 007 gives you the same capabilities as Hitman.
I mean, when you're doing a mission, like, I'm not spoiling anything. There's a spot where you go into this chess tournament, and it gives you certain opportunities. Like you obviously have to do the main mission, but it gives you several ways to get into the tournament because you don't have an invite. So you either got to act like a press, or you got to act like maintenance, whatever the case may be. But there's sections where you have to be in a gunfight. There's no other option. And the two times that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head that I was in a gunfight, like I just didn't have the ammo to fight. And like I had to run over here, punch this guy, and then pick up his gun. And like I said, you have to hit headshots to knock people out, but some enemies are wearing helmets, so it takes 2 or 3 shots to kill them. And it's just like there's a sequence which I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a sequence where you have to get to a plane before somebody escapes. But in between you are there like 30 enemies, and you only have 5 bullets. And you would think, okay, maybe the game is telling me just run for it. Nope, because you're going to get killed. And it took me at least 10 times to figure it out. And luckily the game had some kind of checkpoints that like once I got far enough ahead, I died, but then I was further ahead, so I had less of a distance to go. Like I said, there's not a lot of running, and right now I'm taking down an enemy, but you got to figure out how to kill the enemy because, most games, like if you're in a stealth situation in a gunfight, like you sneak up behind the guy and then you tag him and then you run away, you do it again. This, I snuck up behind him, got the one shot, and then now when I sneak up behind him, he automatically counters everything I have, even though there's no possible way he knew I was behind him. So it's like, it's frustrating. The other thing I got a little bit into Darksiders. I think I put it on apocalyptic difficulty because I'm getting my ass handed to me, and I don't remember the game being this hard. So, I'm slowly making my way through that. Playing more Division, obviously. They just launched their new season. It's called Into the Dark. I don't know if you listened to last week's show. Did you, Matt?
No, I didn't get the chance.
All right, so there's 3 Dark Zones in the Division 2, and now they've split them up for this season. So one Dark Zone, and they're going to rotate which ones are which are which. But there's one Dark Zone that's PvE, so you cannot go rogue. You're running around, and you could have up to 12. I think it's 12 people in a Dark Zone at a time. So you literally see everybody, and you don't have to group up. Everybody's just fighting for the same thing. There is some shady business going on, and I'll get into that in a second. Another Dark Zone is PvP normalized. So everybody's build that they built up and all their augments and stuff like that, everything's zeroed out, so everybody's on fair game. And then one of the Dark Zones is the regular Dark Zone, like where all hell breaks loose. But in the PvE Dark Zone, like you think there should be no shenanigans, what's going on? But people are finding a way to steal your shit. And Dex, I know you're cracking me and saying it's a skill issue. But so one thing unique about the Division is you use skills a lot. But if you go against a hunter, which a hunter, we found out after all these years, is actually another division of the Division. They're more skilled agents. They have the ability to hack your skills. So if you're using a turret or a hive or something like that, they can actually hack it and it starts attacking you. And then you can't just kill it. He said the skill issue was for Darksiders. Probably. But, so, whenever you call an extraction in the PvE Dark Zone, because there's no, conflict with other players, now 1, 2, 3, or 4 hunters, depending on how many people are in the area, will spawn. And hunters are the hardest people to kill in the game, period. They have every skill you have, plus every skill. Like you're limited to only 2 skills on your character. They have every skill available to them. They often heal themselves. They hide. They can basically one-shot you. Like a hunter is like a formidable opponent. Like I have a hard time killing hunters by myself. So what people are doing is they're intentionally putting out a turret, letting the hunter hack it, kill everybody else in the group, go kill the hunter, and then pick up everybody's loot and put it on the rope. Because also the caveat with the rope is, in a normal Dark Zone, only 4 things can be extracted at once. In the PvE Dark Zone, everybody can put their stuff on the same rope. So what they're doing is putting out a turret or a hive or a drone, letting it kill everybody else. After the hunter hacks it, kill the hunter, and then they go pick up everybody's shit and put it on the rope and takes off. So it's pretty shitty. But I'm enjoying the Division. I think maybe a PvE Dark Zone is something for Division 3. I think this is better. Dex says, I saved his ass too many times to call it out for the Division 2. I mean, that is true. There is a video on our YouTube of me saving your ass. And are we getting better loot in the DZ? Yes and no, because now when you kill a hunter, you're getting the raid exotics. There's a 2% chance that the hunter will drop a raid exotic. So far, I've gotten a Regulus and a Eagle Bearer, which are 2 raid exclusives from killing the hunters. So there's more things with the PvE Dark Zone. Like normally, if you're not in a group and somebody opens up a chest, only that group can see the stuff. Now anybody can open the chest and it's open, and everybody still gets their loot. Same thing with the DZ drops. They basically opened it up to saying, you don't have to group up. You could just go in there and 12 people can run free and do their thing. One thing I did see about people not being shitty is you also need, in the PvE Dark Zone, you need a stabilization agent to extract. Like, you can't just go pick up a thing, run over there, and then call in the extraction. You have to have a stabilization agent. So what I see people doing is somebody will run to the extraction point, call the extraction, and then there's a group, say like 7, 8 people, 3 hunters will spawn. Everybody will kill the hunters. One person will put something on the rope, and then they'll wait for the helicopter to go away, and then the next person with an agent calls it in, and then you kill 3 more hunters. So we're able to farm that way too. So that's pretty cool. But then you, like I said, you get the shitty person that put out the skill, and it's not even like you can turn around and kill that person in retaliation because you can't shoot any other agents. So Massive said they are aware of that issue and they're looking into a solution, but I don't know what you can do other than being able to report him and have him booted out of the Dark Zone at that time. So I don't know. And that's all I've been playing, Matt. I think, yes. That's all I've been playing. So at this time, I'm going to throw it over to you for our topics.
All right, got a couple different topics to cover this week. I know I missed last week's episode, so I didn't get to talk about it as much, but with all the Xbox closures going down, The Verge had an article basically came out and confirmed that Xbox is indeed closing down Ninja Theory. And, I included this because I wanted to talk, it turns out, without Alex here or Yield, I don't know how much conversation this will net, but I remember the announcement at E3 when Xbox proudly proclaimed that they were bringing on Ninja Theory into the family. And I'm looking at this going, with the announcement that they said, oh, well, there's going to be a 3rd Senua game. And then less than a week later, oh, yeah, we're closing down the studio. I know you and Alex have been talking about this in chat, but basically they said they hoped the announcement of the 3rd game would drum up a buyer for the studio. That just sounds like the most back-ass words
Yeah,
strategy.
I
Like,
agree.
what?
You greenlight a game to make them more appealing to buyers.
Everything about it just stinks. And I've started. I will come on record and say you and Daryl and Joe Priestley were all right about Xbox. So obviously this is starting to really get to a point. I still challenge the profitability perspective, because obviously they wouldn't have reduced the price if there was something there. But the fact that they're shutting down all these studios, the one thing I will say is, when you consider, and this is something I think Thomas and a couple others have talked about, you're shutting down Ninja Theory, you're trying to spin off, you're trying to sell off, Double Fine, and you really think about what games did this studio make that earned them their keep. And I know the story out there is like, Xbox said, hey, you're all in the Xbox family now, don't worry about making hits, just make what you want to make. And then the games don't hit. So let's take a look at that. You talk about Ninja Theory, and what have they really made over the past couple of years was Senua 2 and what other games? I forget. Let's see. Ninja Theory games. Let's see. Hellblade, Senua Sacrifice, Senua 2, the 2013 DMC Devil May Cry, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, Bleeding Edge, Heavenly Sword. I would say none of these games were groundbreaking. They had their following, but they weren't like super popular. So, okay, I think even Thomas had said it, where it's like, this studio would have been closed down a long time ago if it weren't for Xbox. And same thing with Double Fine. I know this is something Alex was talking about. He'd be upset and he wants to see Double Fine go, but like, okay, Grim Fandango, great game back in 2015. Brutal Legends 2009, which has the controversial like bait and switch. It was a hack and slash, then turned into an RTS, and then it was just it spoke to me. It was like my kind of game, and then they changed up the game style. I was like, well, this is what I wanted. Rad, which was a fun little roguelike, but not exactly groundbreaking. Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2. Again, a studio that made some good games, but nothing like that floated their studio that would have made them survive without Microsoft stepping in. So is it just that these studios are okay, that's it, you guys made the games you wanted, it didn't sell, so goodbye?
Well, like I pointed out last week or the week before, when this first started coming up, Double Fine to me was a weird purchase because they went to crowdfunding to make one of their games. I remember what game they actually did the crowdfunding. It might have been Psychonauts. I probably wrong on that.
I think it was Psychonauts 2, because that was around the time that they were getting bought.
Hold on. Double Fine crowdfunding. Let's see. It was 10 years ago, so they were doing crowdfunding for. It doesn't say here. I mean,
Psychonauts 2 was 2021. 2015 was.
Yes. No, Fig. They did Fig crowdfunding for Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember what game, but it doesn't matter. The point remains is that they at the time they had to go to crowdfunding to make for their game. They made Broken Age. That's what it was. But Microsoft purchasing them was always weird, because if your game has gone, if your studio is going to crowdfunding to make a game, that's telling me as a businessman that you're not self-sufficient. So if we do buy you and we do acquire you, we're going to have to fund your projects because you can't self-sustain. And I know me and you go back and forth a lot when it comes to finances on certain issues, but I'm a firm believer that if you can't self-sustain, you should not be a part of a corporation anymore. Like, like go back to my examples. Like if I'm a business owner and one of my locations is not paying its own bills, and I have to take money from one location to pay for that location, I shut down the second location because they're not self-sufficient. That's the way I feel. And Double Fine to me has always been like, you can't sustain yourself, so why are we going to foot the bill for you? Now, that's not to say that they make bad games. I'm not a fan of their games, but their games are popular. Psychonauts 2, like Alex talks about it all the time.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It doesn't have wide appeal. And when you talk about some of these games and what they need to do to be profitable, you need wider appeal for the way that these studios are dumping money into these games. So I look at something like a Call of Duty and the millions of dollars spent on that. You're going like, really? It's the same thing every year, yet it's profitable because they are self-sustaining. You're right. No, it comes into play where you go, where if a location isn't being profitable and you're borrowing from others, you're just putting money from one bucket into the other one. Is there a market share that you're trying to take away? As I've said multiple times, working at Lowe's, taking market share away from Home Depot was a strategy. In video game worlds, it doesn't play as much that way because, just because you have a game on this system doesn't mean that you're taking the attention away from another system. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, just to counteract your point a little bit here, I mean, we're going to get into it later, but look at how everybody's scared to release their game in November, because of GTA. Like, there's nobody's in this world is going to convince me that there aren't people jumping to other months or even delaying their game by months to avoid GTA. So I don't know. I'm looking at a tweet right now from Oliver Darko saying that Ninja Theory is actually profitable and owns their own assets to the tune of like $55 million. And, so we're going from Ninja Theory, who, according to this tweet, is profitable and can self-sustain. Then you go to Double Fine, who historically, and because we don't have any other information, is not self-sustainable. So, to me, I really wish Sony would have bought Ninja Theory back in the day, but, with the way Sony's going nowadays, who knows if Ninja Theory would still be around at this point.
But then is that a strategy as well to offload a studio that might be able to survive on its own, so that way those people don't get hit as much? I still think that's a bad strategy. I just think that may be a thought process somewhere in somebody's mind.
Well, I also saw somewhere, and there's no confirmation of this, that Microsoft actually went to Ninja Theory to ask them, do they want to buy their independence? Like, before they sell them, do you want to buy it and go independent again? So I'll ask you, Matt, like, if that is an option for Ninja Theory, would that be smart for them? Or do you think they need a higher corporation taking care of them?
I think it depends entirely on how profitable they are. You could be profitable by a 1% margin, or you could be profitable by a 50% margin. Like there's a lot of unknowns there that would be difficult to make a statement on unless you knew.
I mean, that's fair too. All right. Yeah, I mean, listen, this whole situation, like, I appreciate you confirming that me and Daryl and JP are correct, but, like, if you didn't see this coming down the line, like, a long time ago, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I saw this coming, like, when they acquired Activision Blizzard, I said there's going to be massive layoffs. They're spending too much money. There's no way that Game Pass is profitable. Like, I say those things, but again, I want to be clear because I know a lot of people get the misconception. I'm not hating on Xbox and Microsoft. Play what you want to play. If that's your system, that's your go-to, have fun with it. But I want Microsoft and Xbox to succeed because competition is what's going to breed better games for both systems. And I forget the head of Xbox now. I keep forgetting her name.
Aisha Sharma.
Yeah. I think she's got the right direction going, but there's also a big problem. Like, I know you didn't include it in the agenda here, but I also sent you a message from Sean Layden. Did you see that or no?
No.
I think I put it in the I put it in the Facebook chat. So, Tad Hedgie Kelly. Actually, it wasn't a tweet. It looks like it's a LinkedIn thing. He posted, the Xbox identity crisis will continue until morale improves. We've had a new CEO that his previous leadership has been beheaded, a rebrand that was kind of just the old brand, a reaffirmation of expensive Helix, a claim that the hardware can't be expensive to win, a claim that 30% margin is done, a claim that 3% margin is trouble, Matthew Ball and some high-tech, some new tech industry hires, a claim about refocusing on core franchises, a showcase of new games, a killing of studios that makes those games, a claim that that gaming is more important to Microsoft, a comment that gaming at Microsoft needs to stand alone, and on and on. Strategy isn't a collection of contradictory decisions that might matter. It's just tactics. Bob and weave, let's just get through this. Sad times for Big Green, and condolences to the friends affected by the latest closure round. Sean Layden posted a comment to this saying, at the risk of sounding like a quote-unquote hater, which I'm really not, the moves are a basic misunderstanding of how interactive entertainment world moves. If you know, you know, which means if you don't, you don't. So she's making a lot of choices, and they are sounding good, but are they really just hurting the Xbox brand at the same time, I think is the point.
I don't think they are. As a matter of fact, before they decided to go all head choppy, she was starting to make things that sounded good to the average player, at least the average Xbox supporter. We know that the PS5 version of Gears of War being taken away left a lot of PS5 players sour because they knew it was in the pipeline. You could talk about how she came in, everybody was afraid of like AI taking over, and they removed the AI component from the console. So she came in and starting to like assuage some of the fears, but now you've got the Microsoft CEO being like, yo, Xbox, you need to start carrying your weight, otherwise we're going to spin you off. So it's something to take into account, that we thought we were in good shape and then now we're not. So it's mixed messaging, which I think is a problem.
I agree. All right.
Also, a problem is people just watching playthroughs of games that instead of playing them. So the original Resident Evil creator, Shinji Mikami, says if watching a playthrough is enough, the game wasn't good enough. Basically, he was at a June 18th Kano appearance in making a couple different statements, and that, talking about the benefits of streaming, how some of the encounters he had with Mikami were cool, but basically game streams can be a sensitive topic, especially in Japan, and opinions are divided whether they're simply a beneficial form of free marketing or lead to loss of opportunity. Well, Shinji came to say, listen, if you'd rather go watch a video of a game then instead of playing it, then the game wasn't good enough to garner your attention. And I have a couple different problems with that statement.
I do too.
I get what he's saying, but I also think it depends on the audience. If you're a kid and you're in that market division, then yeah, okay, you should be wanting to play the game instead of sit down and watching it. However, me as an adult, if there's something like, I don't have time, if I wanted to see the end of Shadow of the Erd Tree and I couldn't beat the boss, well, then I may go watch a video of it, because I'm an adult. I've got time and whatnot, and other priorities not on my side.
Right, so, but to his point, at least from my understanding, to his point, you've played the game and you're only watching the ending because you can't beat the boss. I think he's saying if you're watching the game start to finish and are satisfied with watching it and not actually playing it, then the game couldn't have been that good.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point to split the hair on, because if I'm interested in Division 2,
Right.
I don't want to go through all that, and I'll start watching it. There's a couple different things you have to take away from people watching something. So, one, is it a story-based game? Meaning, I want to experience the story without going through all of the bullshit. I also liken this to people watching videos on YouTube spun up at like 1.25 or whatnot. You want to watch the video, but you need to get through it faster because you got to do all these other things. If it's like a competitive game like StarCraft or Fortnite, people are watching that because they want to see other players do well. And they want to see how, certain
strategies.
of the game. Yeah. But like, I think this is exclusive, kind of, his statement is exclusive, kind of like to story-based games. I'm not watching somebody play Call of Duty single player because I'm like, oh, I want to see the latest Black Ops story. It's not exactly a great story.
Understood.
I think it's a little bit of an opposite aspect that I'm not going to sit down and watch a video of a game just because I don't want to play it. I think it has to be a game somebody is inherently interested in, but maybe they just don't have time to play. I think that's kind of where you start looking at the differences.
And also, I mean, it's worth pointing out that maybe somebody's watching the gameplay because maybe they didn't have the money to be able to purchase the game, but they want to know what happened. Like you're trying to avoid spoilers.
That's a valid point, because if you don't have the money and you don't want to get spoiled on the game by the time you can actually play it, watching somebody else play it is another valid way, which is a little weird, but in this day and age, it's very difficult to avoid spoilers where you might not expect it. So maybe they opt to watch somebody play it as opposed to it being spoiled in a comment somewhere on Reddit.
Right. And also, if you're watching somebody play the game, if you see a spoiler online, sometimes it's taken out of context and you don't exactly know that it was a spoiler or shit, they spoiled it, something like that. At least if you're watching somebody play the game, you can kind of go through the experience with them and go, okay, this is what's happening and whatnot. Like, I get his point that if you're content on watching it and you don't feel like you have to play it, then the game couldn't have been that good of a game that you were content on watching it. But there's other aspects to that. I mean, the points you made out, that maybe I just didn't have the money to buy the game, but I'm very curious about what happened. That's also a valid point. So.
Yeah, I think the statement is a little more nuanced than what he leaves it for. And again, he's made some great games, and I would never go in and say, well, I'm gonna watch a Resident Evil game instead of purchase it. I think the only thing I will agree upon, and this is funny because he's the one that made Resident Evil 4. I have started and let go of Resident Evil 4 no less than 10 times over the years, from when it first came out on GameCube to the latest remake. And I still can't for the life of me finish it out. I know how it ends. Therefore, I'm not going to sit down and watch it just to watch all the story beats. But if I didn't know how it ends, maybe I might be tempted to say, all right, I've tried multiple times. I'm just giving up and I'm going to watch the video. So how do you feel about that, Shinji?
And also, to your point, like you said, you're interested in Division 2. Division 2 offers a level skip up to level 40 now, so you can jump straight into the end game. So, if you don't want to go through the nonsense of having to level up your character, you can jump right into the end game and be able to be, well, you wouldn't be as competitive as, say, I would be, because I've put over 3,000 hours into the game. But at least you're caught up and actually can enjoy the game, where I find, a lot of times, like, even with multiplayer games, like, if I play a game and then all of a sudden, okay, now I'm going to jump into multiplayer, I'm getting my ass handed to me because everybody else is overpowered because they've been playing multiplayer from the start. I hear a lot of people have that problem with Call of Duty and all this other stuff. So, like, there's so much more to just watching the game. But what I also find, which is contradictory to what he's saying, is, like, I've been posting videos of me playing Lego Batman. I got a video up there of me playing 007. I got a video of me playing Darksiders. Not so much Darksiders, but I find that the views on those videos are dramatically lower. And then even when I stream on Twitch, a lot of people don't watch. And I've had people come in and go, I'd love to sit here and talk with you, but I don't want the game spoiled for me. So, you know, if somebody is watching that YouTube video or watching somebody play it on Twitch, it's not necessarily saying, okay, I want to know the story, because there are a lot of people who have told me they're not going to watch my video or my stream because they don't want the game spoiled for them. So there's a lot of caveats with that statement, in my opinion.
Well, what do you think, folks? You let us know in the comments. Alrighty, next story coming directly from Rockstar. Basically, this is a little bit of a weird way that they did this. If you own any PS4 version or the digital version of Xbox One's version of Grand Theft Auto 5, you will be able to upgrade to the PS5 or Xbox Series XS versions at no additional costs and experience the best versions of GTA 5 and GTA Online. Notwithstanding that this is just a way to drum up interest ahead of GTA 6, but this is a nice thing that they did. I remember when I had the PS5 or PS3 version of GTA 5, I had to trade it into Target, which gave me $30 credit to the PS4 version when that came out. Now I could just use that and upgrade directly to the PS5 version. Digital only for Xbox One. I don't know what's going into that or why. I'm not going to speculate. They do offer the easy migration of the story mode and online progress, which is honestly the way that they want people to do this. They want people to continue spending money on shark cards ahead of GTA 6, because they know when GTA 6 comes, there's going to be a lot of people who leave GTA 5 where it is. PC players can also experience all these updates along with PC-only features such as ray trace ambient occlusion, global illumination, by upgrading from Legacy to Enhanced for free. And if you still haven't experienced the story mode yet, GTA Plus members can also access it along with GTA Online as part of the GTA Plus games library. So, nice thing. I think should have been done a long time ago. So the timing is a little bit suspect, but that's just my thought.
And as good as it sounds, it's also worth noting that if you own the PS4 version of GTA, the upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version was only $10. So, yeah, they're giving you a free upgrade. Great. But it's not like, you're saving yourself $60, $70. You're saving yourself $10. But I would be surprised if they don't carry over the stuff from GTA Online into 6. I think that would be a big mistake and a big backlash if they don't do that. As long as this game's been out, we've been through 3 generations now. People have spent a shitload of money on GTA Online. If they don't have a way to convert that into the online version of 6, I think there's going to be a major backlash. And we're going to have stories of people going, fuck this, I'm not playing it again, I'm not investing money.
I think so. It's a completely different map and setting. They're not going to have Los Santos in GTA 6.
Well, the rumor is, and again, who the fuck knows when it comes to Rockstar and GTA, the rumor is future upgrades, you're going to be able to get all the island, every location into GTA 6. That's in previous games, they're all going to come in. So you're going to be able to fly from Liberty City to, was it Los Santos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a rumor.
Listen, who the hell knows? Because people have been throwing out information about this game from the longest time. I mean, hopefully, when the new trailer comes out, I think it's Thursday, the 25th.
Who knows? Like you said.
Well, okay, I know it's in our agenda, but they have announced that you're gonna be able to pre-order the game on the 25th. So my thinking is that they're gonna release another trailer with the release date on the 25th. And I also put out the fact that we're finally gonna know the price of it. I still think it's
I'm
gonna be
thinking
$100.
$80.
I'm still thinking it's gonna be 100. I think they're ballsy
I
enough
think
to do it.
100, they'll be shooting themselves in the foot.
But you know damn well people will pay it.
I know damn well people will pay it. However, there's those people who say, well, $100 means I'm not going to be giving them money for Shark Cards Online.
Yep. So.
Alrighty. Next story. Sony has patented a controller with buttons that harden when you play with it.
What?
I literally read that title word for word, knowing exactly what it was saying.
Yes, he did.
So anyways, basically there's a patent in the World Intellectual Property Organization that Sony has theorized on a controller with buttons that become more stiff or softer based off of the things happening on screen. And I think it's an interesting thing. Listen, they already have the haptic feedback and the haptic, or was it what the heck was the controller? The adaptive control triggers. That's the word.
Right.
So this is the next step. And I could say, honestly, there aren't too many games that are making use of the haptic controller. I'm sorry, the adaptive triggers. So is this going to add anything? Is this something that you're like, man, I love my PS5, but I really want buttons that provide tactile field and feedback?
Do you know I had my PlayStation for 2 or 3 years before I knew where L3 and R3 were? I had no idea you pressed in the buttons and that's the buttons. I had no idea that was a thing. This is weird to me because I get you want the game to be more immersive. Like even I can't remember the name of the company, but there's some company out there making vests that link in with Assassin's Creed, so you feel the impact when you get hit with a sword or a knife or something like that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I mean, apparently they're popular because they just came out with their third version of it, so people are buying them. I get you want to be more immersive, but you're gonna make the button harder or softer depending on what's going on in the game. That's just save the money and go make better games. I don't get this.
Yeah. So anyway, it's the Ready Player One thing. It's like, oh, here's a full boot suit where, you know, it even got haptic feel on the crotch, and then the guy gets kicked in the crotch, and it's like, yeah, that's what that leads to. Like
that was a good movie, by the way.
I enjoyed that movie. All right, so folks, again, Sony can file patents. English is tough, folks. Sony can file patents for all they want. Who knows if we're going to see this? Maybe it'll be a PS6 thing. You know, obviously there were discussions about the PS6 controller, rumored that it's going to have, you know, customizable face plates. I think controllers still need haptic feedback buttons that provide, you know, a specific set of resistance so you know what you're pressing and where. That's my 2 cents. And then here I just got a couple of quick news bits, not really for discussion unless you have something interesting to say. GTA 5, as Tricky said, they released their pre-order date, which is June 25th. But most importantly, I don't know why I have 5 there in the notes. It is actually 6. GTA 6 cover art was provided. Somebody made a nice little collage showing everything from GTA 3 up to GTA 6. So that's out there. If you haven't been under a rock, Claude Guimont, one of the co-founders of Ubisoft, died in a plane crash. Unfortunately, it was a self-flown plane. He was taking lessons, and rumor was it that he was allowed to try to land the plane under trainer guidance, and unfortunately passed away. And unfortunately, the internet is being the internet, and some horrid comments. Listen, you cannot like the guys the way his co-founded company was being run by his brother Yves, but you know, this is a person died, so have some respect.
And he's also not associated with the company anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And then 5, this was going to be a news story until it turned out to not be a news story. In a Halo PS5 Q&A came out, there was a comment made, a question that was answered, said, you know, if you're doing couch co-op, you are going to need PS Plus subscriptions for both the primary player and the side players. uh, ensuing shitstorm. Everybody was complaining this was ridiculous, and then they came out and clarified, no. It doesn't require separate PS Plus subs, but you have to have separate profiles to do that, which is, I don't think, anything new. Anytime you've turned on a controller, it needs to be either a secondary account or a sub account on the PS5. So it was going to be an interesting story until it came out and said, no, you don't need separate PS5 subscriptions.
Well,
so
there are some
there's
games. There are some games that allow you to play couch co-op with a guest account that's not actually signed into the PSN. So it still is a point that you need a PSN account, because there are games that let you play with a guest account that are not associated with a PSN account. But what I'm also finding very interesting is, yes, they corrected it that you don't need Plus to play couch co-op, but you still need Xbox Live to play on both accounts on the Xbox versions of the game, which I find a little weird. Because if it wasn't very clear, like, why do I need an online account to play locally? Like, I'm not using the internet and playing couch co-op. So it's not a requirement for the PlayStation, but it is a requirement for the Xbox?
I didn't see too much on that. I could say, in a way, I don't know, because again, couch co-op has been a thing it's kind of like, it's a dirty word to a lot of publishers these days. I don't know. I didn't see any of that. I can't comment on it, but it's a stupid thing if it's true. Again, you shouldn't need separate online permissions to play couch co-op. Again, this is why I continue to rail against console-based online pricing. You're already paying for your internet. It's not like I'm paying for Steam servers to be able to play games online. So why do they got to continue doing it on the console side? If Steam can afford it, surely Xbox and Microsoft, Xbox and Sony can figure out how to stop charging people for online play.
I did see somewhere that there's an online petition going on right now to not require you to have Xbox Live to play games online. They want to remove that feature as a they want to remove the fact that you need Xbox Live or Game Pass to play online. They want to remove that completely from Xbox. If I'm not mistaken, Xbox is the one that started that trend, right?
They did, and there's rumors that Xbox was thinking with the next console they may remove the paywall for online play.
And if that happens, you think Sony follow suit?
I think they would. I think they continue offering their game rental services and remove that capability. I don't know if Nintendo will do it. They'll probably say, screw you, we're just going to do it anyways. But I think it's a important aspect that you talk about. Not once ever have I paid to play a game online on the PC, with the exception of World of Warcraft. And that was $15 a month to play on their servers. And even now these days, it's like, it's evidently pretty easy to be able to earn enough in-game gold to buy your subscription. But Xbox came out, gold was a thing to be able to play online. And that's when, what was it? I think it was, broadband gaming was starting to be a thing. I remember on my Dreamcast, I was able to hook in and play games online. And the theory was, you're paying for your online services. Now it's all about, paying for servers and providing dedicated servers and the infrastructure for peer-to-peer playing. It still baffles me that consoles can get away with charging people for online play when PC gamers have been doing it for decades now.
What are you going to do if Valve turns around and says, nope, you got to pay a subscription to play with your other people online?
I think that would be a very weird aspect to take with them, because then you also have things like Epic Game Store, you have GOG. It's because Sony and Xbox are funneling all of their things through their architecture, whereas Valve just provides back-end UIs for people to make those things. I don't think Valve would ever do that. Now, that could change when Gabe Newell passes away. There's a lot of things that can change when that occurs. So I don't know. It's interesting as
I-
an aspect, but
I don't think they'll do it. I'm just asking, what would you do if they
no,
did?
it's a challenging thing because obviously PC is my primary gaming. So if it happens, if I'm going to pay for it anywhere, it's going to be on PC, but I won't be happy about it.
All right. All right. Let's move on to our questions from Facebook.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
So we have two people who left comments. First one is coming from Michael Collins. Says, "Do you guys have any good gaming memories with your father? My dad only played GoldenEye multiplayer once. Only video game I've ever seen him touch." And then he also the comment says, "Joel, what a shame what Druckmann did to him." As far as my father goes, he hated video games, hated the fact that I played them, so he never played any video games with me at all. So I don't have any good memories with my father. What about you?
I do have some, and not what you'd expect. He obviously, he supported the gaming aspect that we did. And my sister and I shared the same month, and we got a NES as our co-birthday present when we really know who it was for. But he would try playing Super Mario Bros. And he couldn't get it. He kept dying. So every time I was playing, he goes, "When's it going to be my turn?" And I'm like, "Never, Dad." But he was great at packing cars for trips. And my sister had actually sent me, my other sister and my brother, a text about, closing up her classroom for the end of the year, packing everything and saying Dad would be proud. And I go, wait, Dad was just playing the wrong video game all the time. He should have been playing Tetris. He would have been great at Tetris. So yeah, not directly, but it was always a running joke with my dad being like, "When do I get a turn?" Being like, "You're terrible, Dad. You shouldn't be playing video games."
All right.
Dex in chat says his dad introduced him to gaming on the Mega Drive, and all he played was Booger Man.
What the fuck is Booger Man?
Booger Man. It was the Phil Hartman game on the. It was on Genesis.
Oh, I never played.
Look it up.
I never played Genesis. Other than the only game I ever played on Genesis was Sonic Spinball.
You missed out. Genesis was a quality console.
Yeah, that's why Sega's no longer around. But JP says, "Who is the best video game father?" I'll let you go first.
Recency bias is Hugh from Pragmata.
I'm gonna say Kratos.
I would agree with that.
Because what I've seen Kratos be as a father in the last two games has really restored my faith in him as a father. And even if you say he is a shitty father because he killed his daughter, he was tricked into doing that, and everything that followed was because of his vengeance of that happening. So in a way, I feel like all the God of Wars have been revenge for his daughter's death. So being a father, if somebody ever tried to hurt my child, I'd probably go scorched earth. So Kratos just had the ability to do it on a much bigger scale. Yeah, so I'm going to say Kratos. I want to say Joel, but we really didn't get the father aspect with Sarah, his real daughter, and what he had with Ellie, I think proves his, I don't want to say faith, commitment as a father. Like, he was a reluctant father for most of the first game, and then his actions at the end of the first game kind of proved like his morality. But then a lot of people would say that he's actually the villain of the first game because he saved Ellie instead of letting humanity possibly survive. So that's the only reason I'm not saying Joel. All right. That being said, we're going to throw it over to our topic of the week.
Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Matt, how do you feel about him saying fuck you when he's not even here to say it himself?
That's why we have the recording, so he can say fuck you, Matt, without him needing to be here.
I mean, he said fuck you, Matt, last week, and you weren't even here to defend yourself.
Yeah, I don't need to defend myself. It's just it. Like I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, everybody should say "fuck you, Matt." It's how I know you're happy with me, or at least I've garnered your attention in some way, shape, or another.
You know what we're not happy with? EA.
EA, coming from EA.com. Electronic Arts introduces EA advertising, launching brands directly into gameplay and live experiences. Do we have a boo laugh track anywhere?
Hold on. We might.
You need a boo laugh track.
No, I don't.
Oh god. Okay. Tricky, that's your homework assignment for next recording. We need a boo laugh track so that way anytime we come up with bad news, you can hit the boo laugh track. So basically, responding to the need for ads in our video games, EA advertising is introducing new ways for brands to reach audiences and measure performance across its ecosystems. Basically saying that there is brand partnerships and gameplay integrations, ad units and 3D sports simulations, enhanced targeting and measurement capabilities. They're selling your data. EA Sports Partner Program, as if EA Sports aren't shitty enough. EA Advertising has already started to partner with leading brands to deliver in-game experiences across the EA portfolio, including Visa, Lowe's, Red Bull, Xfinity and Peacock, and Mountain Dew's Dew University. Yeah. So
Dew University.
What is that?
I said no. I'm just saying Dew University.
Yeah. So basically, here's the thing. Back in the day with Burnout, there was a lot of hoopla about ads being in the games. And we always kind of looked at this and said, listen, if things appear in games, I can see where it makes sense. If you're driving by a billboard at 120 miles an hour and there's a ad for Mountain Dew, okay. If you're watching a sports or you're playing a sports game and there's billboards or there's a banner at the bottom, okay. And that seems to be, a portion of what this is. But if I'm playing let's say Dead Space, to bring back a Dead series, and I pause the game and it pops up something that says, hey, take a horror break, grab a Mountain Dew, I am going to flip a fucking shit. Because what the hell? And that's exactly what it is. And that's the way it's going to be going. Because currently on Netflix, as I pause a show, it says, hey, grab some popcorn or grab a drink as you're taking a break. It's you talked about Ready Player One earlier, Tricky. What's the one thing the villain said? Oh, we could take up to 80% of the viewer's screen without inducing seizures. That's where this is going to.
Or what about if you're playing NHL, and all of a sudden now they have to have a TV timeout and they show you a 30-second ad.
That would just be fucking evil.
That's coming. That's coming.
Of course it is. And that's the one thing I really hate about sports. And I'm glad I wasn't here for last week's discussion because I can't, except for hockey, I really can't stand discussion around other sports. But genuinely, even for sports I don't like, if you're playing a game, you're playing Football Club 26, and you're at halftime, and before you could proceed to the next one, you have to watch a 15-minute interlude because there's some company paid for advertising and they want to get all their advertising in between the halves. Like, that's where this is going, folks. That's why we say don't buy EA games. That's why we say don't do that. If I'm playing Battlefield and I go to capture a flag and it says, this flag capture brought to you by Snickers. Hungry? Why wait? Grab a Snickers before you go to the next flag. That's where this is fucking going. That's what I can't stand about this. They're doing it to, as we've said time and time again, games can't just be profitable. They have to be more profitable than every other game before and every other game to come. And this is just another way. You folks we're still going to be paying $70, $80, $90 for games that include advertising, that are selling your data. Because in NHL 28, there's going to be Tricky. You're going to get an ad for Ubisoft. I'm going to get an ad for Steam. That's where it's all going. It's going to be selling your personalized data so they can feed you ads based off of what they know your interests are.
And Dex in the chat says WWE Games had for the longest time had a Snickers trophy. See, okay, advertisement in games is not a new concept because we had advertisements, so to speak, back in the days of Crazy Taxi. I personally don't have a problem with an ad in a game. What I have a sponsorship in a game. I have a problem if that ad is disrupting the gameplay. The Snickers trophy in WWE games, that's one thing. That's like, okay, this is the trophy. It's sponsored by Snickers. That I can easily ignore. If they're going to put ads in our game and it's going to delay the fact that I can keep moving on, like Matt said about, football club. I got to watch a 15-minute ad before I can go to the second half of my game. I'm not playing your game anymore.
Right here in the article, it says, Red Bull engaged EA Sports Football Club players through branded in-game objectives, team kits, and athlete ambassador collaborations, driving more than 128 million matches played, 1.2 million objectives completed, and strong in-game and social engagement. That means people are seeing this shit and actually clicking on it.
Yeah, but see,
fuck off.
But see, okay, again, that I don't have a problem with because you're given more content and it just happens to be sponsored. I get your point, Matt. I'm not dismissing what you're saying at all. That I don't have a problem with because that to me is no different from, like the Division selling a new outfit and it's all cosmetic. If I have to watch ads in my video games, two things need to happen. Either I'm never playing that game again, or the price of that game needs to come way the fuck down. So they're saying, okay, we're going to sell you a cheaper game, but we're going to make money off the advertising. One of those two things needs to happen. I guarantee you, if I have to watch a TV timeout when I'm playing NHL or, whatever, Madden, I'm not playing that game anymore, and I'm never buying another one of your games. It's just... Well, I'm not doing it.
What about this? Because the first paragraph here talks about brand partnerships and gameplay integrations to create custom integrations designed for specific games and audiences. These collaborations bring brands into the experience through interactive moments like in-game challenges, reward-driven objectives, and branded content. How would you feel about a trophy that's locked behind some sort of advertising based incentive? Hey, Snickers wants you to do 40 mailbox destructions in GTA 6 to get this trophy. So not only are you getting a trophy, you're basically saying, oh yeah, Snickers told me to go do this.
Right. This seems like a horror show in itself. And I also point out one thing. One of the things that Matt got on me about with live streaming this podcast is that he'd often lose track of the stream because an ad was playing. Imagine if I was streaming a game and you just came out of an ad to come back to watch me go into a TV timeout, and now you have to watch the in-game ad of me streaming a game. This is a disaster.
Well, it's obviously not a disaster for EA. They seem to be making money off of it. And the players aren't seeing any incentive for this.
No.
What incentive is it for me to watch a Red Bull branded interaction in NHL 29? What incentive is it for me to buy a Snickers related sports pack for football club? How is it helping me as a player seeing an ad for Xfinity and Peacock as I'm opening up Ultimate Team packs?
Well, here's also the question I want to ask. Do you think any of these companies, Visa, Lowe's, Red Bull, Xfinity, Peacock, Mountain Dew, do you think they're seeing an uptick in their sales through this advertisement? Because
some of these stats, I mean, it's difficult to say because, they're not giving any stats for this, but they talk about up here how they do have vendors that are already engaging on this. They're talking about in-game challenges, and they're being measured to see how players are actually engaging with the advertisers. So they're not going to include the metrics here, but it really is a thing to say, well, if they're not getting clicks, I don't know. I look at this and go, what good is Lowe's doing being in a football club ad? Like,
Right.
Is somebody playing Football Club 26 going, man, I need to repair something in my house. I'm going to go to Lowe's because I saw that one ad.
I'm going to redesign my kitchen.
Dex, there's the reason why there's a good chance you were eating Snickers while playing WWE is because Snickers are fucking delicious.
Yeah, but Dex likes to eat his Snickers upside down.
Anyways, so EA came out with this, and obviously it's not hitting well with players. The problem is players don't really care in the end, or they're ambivalent. And they'll continue buying all the EA sports games. They'll continue buying the Battlefields, and they'll continue buying all the other games that EA puts out and just accepting it for what it is. Until this stuff gets so obtrusive that it's going to be, there's going to be no way back. There's going to be a point of no return, and we're going to be living with this.
And this is also a slippery slope, because if this winds up working for EA, there's no doubt in my mind you're going to see other developers taking this stance and doing the exact same thing.
Look at mobile gaming. Mobile gaming, yeah, there's a difference because you still get games that like are for free, and it goes, hey, to unlock the next levels, you got to watch 2 minutes of ads. Yeah. It's like, okay, how long before they start doing that and pay for systems, pay for games?
Yeah. I mean, even games that I paid for, like they say, oh, well, you completed this level, double the rewards if you watch this ad.
Well, look at Modern Warfare, the launcher on Xbox. It is a plague upon your eyes. You go in, you just want to play Warzone. Okay, now you're met with all of the other Modern Warfares and what you have to pay for, or the Black Ops. And hey, you're playing this. Maybe you want to play this as well. And that's just for their own freaking games. It's like, yes, I'm aware. I'm going into a Call of Duty. I know about all your games. You don't need to make it so difficult just to me to get to go play Warzone. And then you go into Warzone, and here's all the skins. Here's all the V-Bucks you can get for playing Fortnite. Here's all the other different things that you can pay for. It's starting to get a problem trying to play a game. Back in the day, you press play, Resident Evil, and now you're playing the game. Now it's, all right, got to get through all the studio logos, got to get through all the advertisements to get to the start menu. Oh, you want to start the game? Hey, watch this 3-minute video to tell you everything about Doritos that you want to get after the game. It's getting fucking ridiculous.
See, even right now, 007, I clocked it from the time I started the game to the time that I was actually controlling the game was 3 minutes, and there was no ads. It was just, it took that long for the game to load in. The same thing with Lego Batman. It takes that long to load in the games nowadays. You're going to, on top of that, you're going to start putting ads in these games. It's a disaster waiting to happen, Matt. I don't see, like, I get what you're saying about the stats and whatnot, but to me, like I said, if it's simply just advertising and you go into play this sports mode and you get this branded content or cosmetic, I'm fine with that because I can choose whether or not to do that. I do not want ads that play that are unskippable and it stop me from progressing the way I want to progress. If I pause, NHL and some logo pops up and I can quickly just turn back off by unpausing the game, I'm okay with that. I don't think it should happen, but I'm okay with that. But if I hit pause and then all of a sudden it goes, well, you paused the game, now we're going to show you a 30-second ad. I'm done with your game. Done.
Well, it's not going to start out as like that. It's going to be a slippery slope. It's going to start out with just seeing ads at pause screens. And then it's going to start getting on to, well, to load up this game, you're going to have to watch this 30-second ad. It's no different than streaming services now. I go to start up a show that I want to watch. Hey, which ad experience do you want?
Yep.
Do you want to watch a 2-minute commercial now, or do you want it broken up into 30-second commercials in the middle of your streaming?
Do you remember when Hulu started? Everybody was saying, I'm paying for Hulu. Why am I watching ads? And everybody was against it. Now every service does ads. I mean, Netflix is starting to go down that way, but now Netflix, the only time I see ads on Netflix is when they're doing a live stream, like when they stream in Raw, or, you know, the Rousey fight, or a comedy special, something they're doing live. They're starting to do ads in that. And that, to me, I'm okay with that, because that's almost like watching, you know, Raw on TV. Like, you're going to get ads. But
well, yeah, I mean, I watch a 30-minute show. Generally speaking, I don't see an ad. If I'm watching an hour-long show, yeah, it's broken up in a couple different ads.
Right. But, like, right now, I'm trying to... The reason I stay on... Me, personally, I stay on Netflix to watch all my shows is because I don't want an ad every 5 minutes. Like, I know you don't watch wrestling, but you try to watch a WWE video on YouTube, bro. You know the Royal Rumble. Every 2 minutes, a new person comes in.
Yeah,
they do an ad every single time somebody comes into the ring. Right?
Well, back in the day when I used to watch Walking Dead, and they were like, here's a 9, because the shows were an hour long. So on broadcast TV, that meant like 43 minutes a show, 17 minutes of commercials. And then they started coming out with like the openers and finales being 90 minutes. I wasn't excited, because it meant 60 minutes of show and 30 minutes of commercial. And obviously at the time, people were like, well, that's why we have TiVo and other DVRs and things like that. We just start a half hour later. Yeah, I'm still staying up later for you to feed ads down my throat.
Correct.
And everybody, to Dex's point, yeah, cable TV started out as no ads there and riddled them. People left cable TV because they were tired with ads. They didn't want to watch ads anymore. So they went to all the streaming services. And then all the streaming services, it was the drug deal. You paid in at a low price to get in, and then they kept upping the price. And then, well, you know, now we have to show you ads, so we don't up your price anymore. And then they keep upping your monthly bill anyways.
Yeah, when I started paying for Netflix, I was paying $7.99 a month. Now I'm paying $19.99. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way. I pay $10 through Verizon to get both HBO Max and Netflix. And it's the ad version, which means I'm streaming at like 720p, because that's the other thing they start doing.
Right.
It's the quality difference. And then I get Disney Plus through Verizon for free. I'm trying not to leave my plan so they never have to, so I'm grandfathered into that. But this is the future for games when you start adding ads into this stuff. Just look at where we're at now with streaming services. That's going to be games in 5-10 years, whatever it is, even sooner, I suspect.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up the show, Matt. We'll do your shout outs, and then I'll do my shout outs, and we'll get the hell out of here. What do you say?
I say a shout out to you, Tricky, for recording tonight. Shout out to Alex and Yield. Yield, hope Dex is treating you right down there in Australia. Just remember, when you're on the plane, it's got to do that 180-degree conversion. Otherwise, you're going to be walking around upside down here. And the toilets flush a different way. Just remember that.
Is that actually true?
Yes, it is. It's called the Coriolis effect. Didn't you see that one episode of The Simpsons?
I don't watch The Simpsons.
Wow. Uncultured swine. I
hate that show. That Family Guy, nope, not for me.
Well, then we're not going to talk to you anymore, Tricky, about that. In lieu of Alex, shout out to the fans, the fuel, the fire, trophy whores. Thank you for listening. Shout out to Will for his artwork weekly. Shout out to Dex who was in chat with us and is saying The Simpsons explain it perfectly. Thank you, Dex. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure to check out channel3.gg for gamified social media. We're currently having fun on Father's Day, talking about all the grilling and stuff that's going on. I'll send a picture to you guys, Tricky, but I just started curing some pork belly that I'm hoping to make some bacon in about a week. And shout out to my wife V. Thank you for all that you do.
All right. One thing I forgot to mention is I put a poll in the Facebook group. What are the chances Nintendo releases Zelda in November to compete with GTA 6? Two options. One, I said they have the balls to do it, and not a chance. Surprisingly, it's closer than I thought it was. It's 60% for they have enough balls, 40% for not a chance.
Nintendo doesn't care.
Do you think that they're gonna release Zelda in November
or December? I can tell you, GTA is not affecting their decision.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Give a shout out to you, Matt. Shout out to Dex for being in the chat. Shout out to Alex and Yield. Shout out to everybody listening to the show. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Happy Father's Day.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and Twosome Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.